Levin and Megyn Kelly are still trading blows online as this conservative civil war of sorts continues to heat up. There's no signs of it letting up. Cenk, I know you did a live video on this as it was developing, but I'm curious what your 2 cents are.
Hello, folks, and welcome back. Buckle up, Patriots, because we're diving headfirst into a conservative civil war that's got more drama than a high school cafeteria fight, but with way higher stakes. We're talking about the recent dust-up between Megyn Kelly and Mark Levin, a battle that exposes some serious fault lines in the modern conservative movement. Grab your popcorns, because this isn't just about personalities. It's about principles, hypocrisy, and who's really pulling the strings. Let's get at it.
Yeah, so this is my favorite thing in the world, and not because of what people think, oh, you're on the left, so you like the right wing fighting. No, I like the right wing rebelling against the establishment and the uniparty. So that's why I love this story. There's more of that in here, but the Alex Jones part is a super curious part. I have no idea which direction that brother's going. So for the first time in this MAGA civil war, I'm a little lost on that character plot development. So, but we'll show you all the videos and facts and we'll make up our minds together.
Before we get to the Alex Jones, Candace Owens, Laura Loomer kerfuffle, I want to start off with Mark Levin and Megyn Kelly. Now, Levin, as you can imagine, has been hounding Megyn Kelly for months, not over what she herself has to say about anything, but because of her unwillingness to disavow Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens.
Hold on a minute. Let's just hit the brakes right there, because this is where the entire rotten foundation of this so-called conservative infighting starts to crack. Mark Levin, a man who once commanded respect from many on the right, is now reduced to hounding somebody for not disavowing other conservatives, not for her opinions, but for theirs. This isn't conservatism. It's a loyalty test, and frankly, it's pathetic. It's like being in grade school where the popular kid demands you stop being friends with somebody he doesn't like, or else you're out of that cool crew. Except this isn't the playground. This is the political arena, and the stakes are far higher than you get when you play a game of dodgeball. This isn't about ideological purity. It's about enforcing a very specific, non-negotiable foreign policy agenda. And let's be brutally honest. When the primary metric for loyalty on the right becomes your stance on a foreign nation, rather than, say, fiscal responsibility, individual liberty, or American sovereignty, then you've got a problem, a very big one. It's the Israel First crowd showing their true colors, and anyone who dares to question the narrative, even gently, gets thrown under the bus. Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, whether you agree with them or not and everything they believe in, how dare you ask uncomfortable questions about our foreign policy and the endless money we funnel overseas? They're not anti-Israel in the sense of hating Jewish people. They're pro-American in the sense of asking if our tax dollars are best spent on endless wars and foreign aid, when our bridges are crumbling and veterans are struggling right here at home. This isn't bigotry. This is basic common sense patriotism, and we need more of it.
Both of whom Levin absolutely despises because they are very critical of Israel. Now, since Turning Point USA's America Fest event, Mark Levin has been attacking another person as well, and that's Jack Posobiec, because of this moment at the event. He apparently held up a rosary, and that offended the sensitivities of Mark Levin. I don't know why. But look, Cenk, you made an argument that Posobiec did this and essentially baited Levin, and Levin stupidly took the bait. He criticized Levin Levin also criticized Posobiec for taking a picture with Myron Gaines, an influencer, who he labeled as anti-Semitic. And apparently in the picture, you can see Gaines wearing what's described as an anti-Semitic shirt, making light of the Holocaust. So if that's what the shirt, in fact, is making light of, that's pretty gross. So I'm upset about that as well. But Mark Levin using that to attack like Megyn Kelly is a weird choice, which we'll get to in just a minute. On Monday, he wrote that a week ago, Posobiec was a little known bigot and Jew hater Now he's a little known delusional bigot and Jew hater. Prayer doesn't seem to be working for him. In fact, he's so busy hyper posting when does he have time to pray? And then he implied that Turning Point should ban Posobiec from future events. Who are I love how this guy thinks he's like the dictator here. Like he gets to decide what every organization does or doesn't do. But he's calling for Posobiec to be banned from future events, writing decision time. And Megyn Kelly responded to that, saying Mark Levin, who is spiraling because he mocked Catholics praying the rosary and his hatred is evident for all to see, actually thinks he can besmirch Jack Posobiec out of Turning Point USA. Good use of the word besmirch. This is genuinely funny, as if TPUSA would ever bow to Christian loather Levin dying laughing. I don't know, Megyn, they might, but I'm curious what you think, Cenk.
Yeah, so I love every piece of this because there's so many interesting plot developments here. All right, number one, so Myron Gaines' shirt, in my opinion, is out of bounds. The fact that it's out of bounds is just noted. He doesn't get canceled, nothing happens to him. I just am not in favor of that. In 80% of the charges of anti-Semitism, it's nonsense. It's just a way of defending Israel. They planted all these trope landmines, etc. But 20% of the time, are some people against Jews? Yeah, of course, right? And so Myron Gaines seems to be in that category. So now what Levin does from there on is what's, of course, standard Israel first procedure. Okay, we've got a guy who's said plenty of bad things, but in that particular case was wearing a bad shirt, okay? So, okay, but I don't agree with him at all. All right, so then he says, since Posobiec was standing next to him and smiling, Posobiec is canceled. No, there's no smear by proxy, smear by standing next to a guy. And he's like, but in the picture he was smiling. I don't know what he was thinking in the picture. What is this nonsense, right? Then he says, okay, then Posobiec brings out the rosary beads at TPUSA. That's of course to rub it in the face of Jews and saying you don't belong here, and that's why he's an anti-Semite. That doesn't mean that at all, okay? I don't like. It is another giant step because now he has to call Posobiec a quote unquote Jew hater. And this is Megyn, now we're at the third level. This is 6 degrees of Mark Levin, right? So now we're at the third level, which is Megyn Kelly says she won't condemn Posobiec, who wouldn't condemn Myron Gaines. She's a Jew hater and she needs to be canceled, etc. Now this is
so
all
crazy.
It's totally
so
nuts.
Crazy. It's like high school drama, like this whole guilt by association. Like, can you imagine going around demanding that people condemn others that you don't like and then calling them bigots and anti-Semites because they refuse to disavow the people you don't like? That's crazy. How about you judge someone based on their own character, what they say, what they do? But no, this is like a cult. It's genuinely a cult. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Exactly. High school drama is the perfect description. This isn't some serious political discourse. It's the Mean Girls playbook applied to national politics. 6 degrees of Mark Levin, as they put it, where if you ever breathe the same air as someone he doesn't like, you're guilty by association. It's so absurd, it would be hilarious if it wasn't so damaging to honest debate and genuine conservative principles. Let's break this down. First, a guy wears a shirt that's questionable. Okay, maybe not great. Then someone stands next to him and smiles in a picture. Oh no, clearly that means he endorses every single thought, belief, and fashion choice of the other person. It's the kind of logic you expect from a toddler who blames the dog for eating his homework. This escalates to Posobiec. Now, Posobiec, that's a whole nother issue. When it escalates to Posobiec holding a rosary at an event, and suddenly it's an anti-Semitic act described to rub it in your face of the Jews? Are you kidding me? A rosary, a symbol of faith for millions of Christians worldwide, now weaponized as a tool of hatred? This isn't just a stretch. It's a full-blown mental gymnastics routine that would make an Olympic gold medalist blush. It's a desperate attempt to find anything, and I mean anything, to justify the preordinance conclusion that Posobiec is a Jew hater. And then the final boss level. Megyn Kelly, who simply won't condemn Posobiec, is now also a Jew hater and needs to be canceled. This isn't about objective truth or even consistent moral code. It's about ideological purity tests enforced by a very specific, very powerful lobby. It's a cult indeed. You either fall in line or you're cast out. No questions asked, no nuance allowed. This whole guilty by association tactic is a hallmark of authoritarianism, not conservatism. True conservatives believe in individual responsibility, individual thought, and judging people by their own actions and words, not by who they happen to be photographed with or who they refuse to publicly disavow. They're not mind readers. Neither are we. We can't be held accountable for the private thoughts or obscure past actions of everyone we ever stand near. That's just not how it works. We have to really look at people's beliefs, not everyone's beliefs, and think it's generalized beyond all.
Yeah, well, that leads, of course, I totally agree. And that leads to two other things. So now, the reason why Mark Levin does this is because he's used to it. And in the past, Anna, as we know, to be fair to Mark Levin, this one trick pony was the greatest pony in cancel culture history. You call somebody an anti-Semite, they're done forever. Their career is ruined, nuked, gone, right? So he's like, wait, I don't get it. I already called you an anti-Semite. Why are you still here? Because normally what would happen is the rest of mainstream media would come in and go, that's it, we officially declare Megyn Kelly an anti-Semite. She's the worst person and anyone associated with her is the devil, etc. And she would be nuked. But mainstream media doesn't have that kind of power anymore. So Megyn Kelly stands here entirely unnuked, right? So Levin's like, I don't get it. I already canceled her. Hey, everybody else, snap to it. We're canceling her. She's now a slight 1% Israel critic. Everyone destroy her. But he doesn't get that he doesn't control everyone anymore. But he does control something very important related to TPUSA. I'll get to that in a second. But what were you gonna say, Anna?
So I wanted to give you Mark Levin's response to Megyn Kelly, who said that, or called him out for mocking Christians or Catholics specifically after Jack Posobiec held the rosary. He decided to basically invoke an old scandal. And the scandal happened back in 2018, where NBC had fired Megyn Kelly after she questioned why it would be considered racist for a white person to paint their face black for a Halloween costume. So yesterday, this is what Levin said while invoking that scandal. Meg Kelly, whose ratings were so bad on NBC, she became a laughingstock, was canned for promoting blackface on Halloween. You see, she was always a degenerate bigot. That's interesting, Mark, because you never had a problem with Megyn Kelly at all until very recently. So she's always been a degenerate bigot and you loved her until now? Why? What happened? What changed? Yeah. This is why she's cool with Candace Owens and Jack Posobiec. This is why she slobbers over Carlson. This guy is a total lunatic. She's part of the woke Reich, the queen of the modern clan. More to come. Kelly hit back without mentioning her past remarks. You're just upset because I'm not afraid of you or your baseless slurs. You're an old, irrelevant, bitter, angry man who could never make it in the Fox News primetime. We used to laugh at you there for your red-faced tantrums over everything. Oh, that was pretty good. Now, Breaking Point's host Emily Jasinski went back and forth and basically found how Levin reacted to Kelly getting fired in 2018. So she dug this up, and I'm so happy she did, because here's what Levin had to say back in 2018. The real reason Megyn Kelly was fired by Andrew Lack. So he's sharing a piece about it. MSNBC didn't fire Joy Reid, yet NBC is pushing out Megyn Kelly. Interesting. So he's basically bringing up that scandal from 2018 to serve his own purposes today, when at the time in 2018, he was totally defending Megyn Kelly.
And there it is, folks, the smoking gun. The absolute undeniable proof that Mark Levin's outrage is not and never was about principle. It's about agenda. It's about control. It's about Israel first, and anyone who steps out of line, no matter how minor the deviation may be, become a target for destruction. He defended her on the blackface comment in 2018 when it suited him, when it aligned with the broader conservative narrative of cancer culture gone wild. But now, because she won't jump through hoops regarding Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, because she refuses to join his personal crusade against anyone critical of Israel, suddenly she's a degenerate bigot and a queen of modern Klan. The hypocrisy is so thick you could cut it with a knife. It's not just two-face, it's a whole carnival of masks. This isn't about, sudden epiphany on racial sensitivity. This is about a man who believes he has the power to dictate who is in and who is out on the right, based solely on their allegiance to a foreign government. He's weaponizing past controversies, twisting narratives, and outright lying about his own previous stances, all to enforce a loyalty that has nothing to do with American values or a conservative principle. It perfectly illustrates the point made earlier. These Israel First pundits aren't right-wingers. They're not left-wingers. In fact, they're not any kind of wingers in the traditional sense. They are single-issue advocates, and every other issue, every other principle, every other conservative value is secondary to the one overriding priority. They will betray their friends, abandon their principles, and contradict their own past statements without a moment's hesitation if it serves the Israel First agenda. It's a stark reminder that we need to be incredibly discreet and discerning and worry about who we are listening to on the right. Are they truly advocating for American interests? Are they consistent in their principles? Or are they just shills for powerful lobbies, ready to turn anyone who doesn't match or march in lockstep with their narrative, foreign-centric worldview? We need to understand where our leaders are really walking and what path they're going.
So yeah, that's the kind of guy he is. I mean, again, the number one priority for someone like Mark Levin, it's not doing the right thing. It's not protecting vulnerable communities from bigotry or hatred. It's not about reporting the truth. It's really just about defending Israel. And if you happen to be an individual on the right who has refused to disavow other conservatives who have been critical of Israel, well, according to Mark Levin, you're part of the third. What was it?
The woke right.
The woke Reich. I mean, it's just so disgusting and pathetic.
So let's talk about who changed, because I'm pretty sure that the entire right wing defended Megyn Kelly on the blackface comment. So now all of a sudden, Mark Levin is a super liberal who is outraged and aghast at her blackface comment. I don't remember that. So obviously, Mark Levin changed, right? And in fact, Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro were both never Trumpers. And my God, have they changed. And in fact, if you track it, you will see that Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro have either supported Donald Trump or been completely against Donald Trump, depending on what Donald Trump's position was on Israel at that time. Gee, I wonder why Mark Levin changes his position, because he's not a right winger. He's certainly not a left winger. He's not any winger. All he cares about is Israel, period. 100%, not 99.9%. So if he views you as pro-Israel, he loves you, you're God's gift to humanity. If he thinks that you're 0.5% against Israel, that's it. The rosary beads means you're a Jew hater, etc. Side note, real quick, like he did the rosary beads. Now remember, there's a lot of anti-Muslim propaganda going on at the same time. Two, if I had come out and said, that's it, Jack Posobiec is a Muslim hater. Look, he did the rosary beads. People would be like, what are you talking about? Are you insane? Have you lost your mind? And imagine then I said, no, that's it, I cancel him. And I cancel Megyn Kelly for talking to him. Everyone would laugh uproariously. But yet these guys are 100% used to doing it. So now we get back to, well, why does Levin even think he has the power to do that? One, in the past, that power was 100%. So again, I get where he's coming from. But number two, Anna, remember TPUSA had $400 million in donor money, not investment, just flat out donors. And so they paid for a certain message, right? And when at the end they didn't get that exact message they wanted from Charlie, they were very mad. I'm not saying anything else about that. I'm just saying it is on the record that they were very mad. And it was on the record that they wanted Tucker Carlson canceled and anyone who opposed Israel canceled. So what Mark Levin is saying is, hey, donors to TPUSA and just about everything else, you're to cancel this person, and that person. So now, in the past, again, donors had 100% control. But now they've lost their own base. They've lost the grassroots. So they're at war with their own base, and it's amazing to see because it was never their base in the first place. The reason the pro-Israel donors went there is because they thought it was easier to trick the right wing. Now they've come to find out not as easy as they thought, and so now they're reeling, and they never planned for a second line of attack. Their only line of attack is kings of cancel culture. We cancel everyone in our path. So finally, Anna, at this point, what's amazing about this fight is this, if you ask the person in establishment media, like you say, like who cares about Mark Levin? He's now the most irrelevant person. I did a tweet the other day about how he's united the country because now literally everyone hates him. Left, right, center, no one can stand Mark Levin. With one giant asterisk, everyone in Washington and everyone on cable news. If you ask them who represents the right wing more, Mark Levin or Tucker Carlson, I think that they're still foolish enough, out of touch enough, ludicrous enough, biased enough that they would say Mark Levin.
Yes, that's very true. So I'm on Megyn Kelly's side in this specific, conservative war. But when we come back from the break, I do want to talk about Alex Jones feuding with Candace Owens. I think he's a little jelly. I'll tell you why when we come back.
This conservative war is messy, but it's also necessary. It's a purification, a sorting out of who truly stands for America First principles and who's just serving another master. What do you think about Mark Levin's hypocrisy? Tell me. Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve, know who's fighting for you and who's just playing games, then smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. We're here to cut through the noise and give you the truth every single time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.